Hi, I'm doing this blog as a show of support for a friend of mine who just found out her teenage son, has type 1 diabetes, which I know is scary and awful, and you don't know what to think, and you're thinking, why my baby? And how can he handle this and stuff, and I know it's probably hard for him too, as hard as it is for her as a mom. I know at 7, when I got diabetes, I didn't even know what they were talking about, and then somebody said something about a needle, and I was like, what? And so it was tough. And and I got diabetes when I was 7, so that was 1979. Okay, and I've had it for 34 years coming up now. And the thing I want to tell her is that, first of all, it's going to be okay. Boy, I wish there was a cure. That would make it so awesome. But until there is a cure, this is not a bad time to be a diabetic. In fact, it's a great time. And one of the things about it is it's a manageable chronic disease. And most chronic diseases are usually not manageable, but this one is and stuff. And so, as I was telling her before, and telling anybody else who's just got diabetes, get educated. Most hospitals and doctors and all that stuff always have people who do diabetes education and stuff, and lots of classes on how you eat, how you test your blood sugar, what you need to watch out for hyperglycemia, what you need to watch out for hypoglycemia, how what do you do when you're sick, and all that sort of stuff. Because it's something you have to manage. Yes, your life will change a lot. It will change a lot and stuff. And it's just something that you'll have to do. As I say with most things, you just have to do what you have to do. But I want to assure you that this will be an okay time, and you'll be okay. I know right now you're probably in shock, and I would be too. And I'm sure my mom, when they found out I was a diabetic, really what happened to me was I went to the hospital and she thought I had flu, and the next thing I knew, they had rushed me to the ICU, and I was in a coma for like 2 days and stuff. So it was, pretty scary for them and stuff. And then they brought me out. I came out of the coma, and then they started explaining and stuff. And my poor mom was always crying because she was like, oh, my baby, I don't want to give my baby a shot, and all this stuff. Now, she has a teenage son who will probably be giving his own self diabetic shots, which is great. And I'm going to tell you all the stuff that I use for my diabetes. So, and I'm sure they showed you some of this stuff, and you're probably using some of it, so you get used to it. This is a glucose monitor. This is a big one. They have smaller ones. These are always free because this stuff costs money. Now, usually with insurance, all this stuff is covered. That's great. Used to be, didn't happen like that and stuff. Or when I first got diabetes, you had to pee on a stick all the time and, get your ketones and everything. And then they started doing blood sugar finally. And, when I started out, I was using pig insulin, and now they're using human insulin and stuff, which is pretty awesome and everything. So I take this. This is fast. Doesn't take a lot of blood to do this. You just have to prick your finger with this and stuff. Get a little blood, do what they say, follow the instructions, and you get a blood sugar and stuff. And so he'll know what his blood sugars are. And I think that's important, is that, all diabetics know that it's important for you to take your blood sugar. You don't really know how much insulin to take. You don't really know what to do if you don't know what your blood sugar is. Now, these two things are the insulins that I take and stuff. And I'm going to take a third one now that I'm pregnant. I'm going to put me on a third one. This is called Novolog. It is a short-acting insulin. I'll explain to you what that is. It is to cover the food that you eat and make it into energy. And usually to cover carbs and stuff, because carbs will do us in if we don't watch out. So I dial it up, and then I take it off, and there's a needle at the end. The needle is short. I love short needles because they don't hurt and stuff. When I was young, all the needles were long and they hurt. But now they have all these short needles, and this just comes off, and you put another one on, and it comes off, and you put another one on, and stuff. And it's really awesome. This pen is really convenient, because I used to take insulin out of a bottle and have to have a syringe. But this is so convenient. I could just put it in my pocket, put it in my purse. You know, you put it in a backpack. You can just go. It's no big deal. You can keep all this stuff, you know, in a little case if you want to. It's not a biggie. I just, you know, I've learned how to manage how to do that. And after a while, he'll find something that works for him. This is my long-acting insulin. It's called Lantus, and it's a basal insulin. And what it does is just it's just there, sort of doing its thing all day long. It doesn't spike. It doesn't really work on anything and all this stuff. But it's a long-acting, and it's called a basal insulin. And it does the same thing. It has a dial up. It has the insulin in there, and you dial up what you need. You know, just dial it up, dial it up, dial it up, and then you just stick it in you and punch it in and stuff. And But what I want to say is that being a diabetic of 34 years and now about to be a mommy and everything is that you can live with it. It is manageable. You can have a productive, fine life. It's not the end of your life, his life, or anything. It's just a new challenge. That's all. And stuff. And it's not too terrible when you think of all the possible challenges you could have in life and stuff, you know. It's just sort of figuring out, you know, what do you do when you have low blood sugar? You know, having snacks or having some sugar with you, glucose and all that sort of stuff. And they got all this great glucose stuff. Oh, you're so lucky. This stuff tastes way better than that stuff that looked like green goop when I was a kid. This stuff tastes like candy. It's awesome. I mean, I have some glucose stuff now that's like a pixie stick. And I'm like, this is great, you know, and stuff. And, you know, you take a little drink and it ups your glucose just like that, you know, really fast if you have low glucose. Or if you need to take extra insulin if your glucose is kind of high and you're having hyperglycemia, and knowing how to you know, measure, well, how much should I take as what's called a bolus to get blood sugar down and stuff, and all this stuff. People do lots of different studies. There's lots of different research. There is tons more information on diabetics and what you should do, where you should actually take shots, you know, because I take shots in my stomach, but I only take my fast-acting insulin in my stomach because it works really fast. And because I want my slow-acting insulin, my basal insulin, to work slow, I take that in my thigh because it moves really a lot slower if I take a shot in my thigh. Now, people think, oh, I don't want to take a shot in my stomach. Trust and believe, it's the best place to take a shot. There is barely any pain there, usually because we all got lots of fat in our stomachs. And what I've come to find out now is that I can take my shot here in my stomach. I usually just take it around there. But now I figured out I can use these spots along here to take my shot in my stomach, which I'm going to start doing now as my stomach gets bigger and bigger, getting ready for the baby and stuff, you know. And so I want you to know, and I want your son to know that, first of all, you can ask me any questions that you want to ask me anytime you want to ask me. Do I know lots about diabetes? I sure do. Do I know everything about diabetes? Nope, I don't. But that's why you have a doctor and stuff. And you can ask everybody lots of questions. And if you're really wondering about stuff and you're wondering how to handle stuff. And yeah, I'm personally a person. I know some people are like, well, I don't want to tell anybody. I think somebody might be. But I think I like to be open. I've always liked to be open about having diabetes because you need lots of support. And if your friends know and family knows that, hey, somebody's having a low blood sugar or somebody's having a high blood sugar, and what's going to happen in your house now is everybody's going to be a diabetes expert. That's for sure, because that's what happened in my house. All of my brothers know. All of my brothers are diabetic experts at this point, you know, and stuff. Everybody's going to be a diabetes expert, and they're going to know, hey, sometimes you have a low blood sugar or they're having a high blood sugar. My husband knows. He knows now. He can tell by the sound of my voice if I'm having low blood sugar or high blood sugar. You can tell by the sound of my voice. That's how that's how easy it is to tell and stuff. And for you also to know that Since there's all this great research and all this great information that's going on about diabetes, it makes it a lot easier to manage and stuff. And I hear all this different stuff about doing stuff. They may end up putting your son on a pump, and they've been trying to put me on a pump forever, but I keep not doing it, and I probably should, but I keep not doing it and stuff. And a pump is really great. Many diabetics who have the pump love the pump. It makes their life so much easier to have that sort of continual, insulin going into them all the time and stuff. And so it's just something that, as time, I'm telling you, it's scary now. I know, it's scary. But as time goes on, and as things happen, what you'll know is that it will get better. And as you get more education, it'll get better. Now, your son's a teenager. I don't know if they have these where you live. You might want to research them, or somewhere else. Is they have diabetic. When I was a kid, I went to lots of diabetic camps, and it was great. That was a great place for me to, first of all, figure out, oh my God, there are other people who have diabetes just like me, because usually when you're a diabetic, you're the only diabetic and stuff. And I was the only one in my family, and I was the only one I knew. I was the only one at school and stuff. And so it's nice to have some people that you can meet that are other diabetics, and it's nice to have somebody who can relate to your experience as a diabetic, because really being a diabetic is all encompassing. It is your life. It is now who you are, and stuff. It is your identity. I don't identify myself outside of being a diabetic, and stuff, because this is who I am. This is how I live. Now, it's not a terrible thing, but it just is what it is and stuff. So, so it's nice to have that thing where if you have camps or places they can go and talk to people about what it's like to be a diabetic and what it's like to have diabetes, who can relate and then give you lots of good information. I always had a good time at camps, and I always did good, and I always went horseback riding, and I did riflery and archery, and I was canoeing, and it was fun to be outside and having a good time. So I always had a good time going to diabetic camp, and I went to those until I was a teenager. Actually, from a little kid up until a teenager, I went away from home, usually 1 to 2 weeks, out in the woods somewhere in Kerrville, Texas, in the hill country, and went to diabetic camps and stuff. So that was nice to have and stuff, and it just gives you some support, at this time, and it'll be great, if they have those where you are, you can find them. It'd be great for your son or some other type of diabetic support group, and stuff, because yeah, it's sort of hard to understand, and why is this happening, and what's happening here, and how is this happening, and what's going on here, and what's going on there, and how, and yeah, it'll be some time where it'll be kind of like, okay, trying to figure all of this out and work all of it out, work all the insulin stuff out, the taking, of blood sugars and all that sort of stuff and everything, but it'll work out, and stuff. And I know you have a wonderful, loving family, and you're a damn good mom, so it'll work out and it'll be great. What I want you to know for sure is please ask me anything you need to ask and stuff. I've got lots of information. I got lots of knowledge just from being a diabetic a long time, and I have gone to college, lived alone, lived with my husband, lived with my family, traveled. I've done lots of stuff and was a diabetic. It didn't stop me from doing anything, and stuff. It didn't stop me from doing anything. And anything that your son wants to do, he can do. Not an issue, not a problem. It can be done. There's all kinds of people. There's a championship weightlifter that's a type 1 diabetic. You can do it. You can do it and stuff, just you have to make sure you stay under good doctor's care. Ask lots of questions. I'm telling you now, ask lots of questions, and stuff. It's not a bad thing. Ask lots of questions and see what will work for him and for your family and stuff. People are all like, yeah, but I'm a patient and I need to know stuff and I say what I need, and stuff. I don't just, I used to be the kind that didn't ask no questions. Now I'm sort of ornery, patient and stuff, but I'm the one that has to live with this, and I'm the one that has to be the diabetic and stuff. So, ask lots of questions, and if you're going, get your questions wrote down that you need to ask and stuff that you're wondering about, because with this chronic disease, knowledge is power, and knowledge is going to make it a lot easier to transition into being a diabetic and to live and to be able to manage it and manage it well, and stuff. I'm 34 years. I know people who got 40, 50 years of being a diabetic. Yeah, we live a long time and stuff. So it's not like we don't live. We live a long time. And when we take care of ourselves, we just, we have stuff that happens as time goes on. Of sort of, having a chronic disease can do stuff to your body and everything, but it's not this thing where we don't have a life and we don't get to live, and stuff. We certainly do. And so I want you to, be hopeful about that and stuff. And I'm just saying this as a friend and as somebody. People don't get to see me, and I don't get to call people and everything, but I certainly can tell you what I need to tell you via a video. And I love you guys. I'm praying for you. And again, if you need anything, please let me know. Places and resources or whatever. There's lots of stuff out there. That can make this not as scary as you may think, and a lot better. So I certainly will talk to you all later. I'll see you guys later. Bye.